Well, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me as we do a quick walkthrough of the TMRA game system. I couldn't be more excited to share with you the result of our efforts. We're continuing to build and improve upon the game and the prompting and the various AIs that we use and the models and the training, but it's definitely time to share this with you. Let's do a quick walkthrough and we're going to make a new game together. We're going to want to provide a little bit of information to help get it all started. So I'm just going to work through and take some of this example text. Let's do Korglak and his son Akhtar. Let's do medieval times with dragons. Hero adventure. Right now, this would be I guess I can talk as we go. Some of these are going to dramatically impact how your playthrough goes. Certainly, your character or characters, it's not ideal for groups or multiplayer, but it works pretty well. So, if you're sitting with someone or you're streaming on a call and you want to incorporate a few other voices, she does a really nice job. So, time period and settings. This is going to help with the graphics that are generated. It's going to kind of help try and create a consistent theme, and it's really going to set the basis for your experience. And you can get very creative here. Maybe it's something on the nose, 200 years in the future, London, downtown. You could get very specific. It could be a fantasy world full of vampires and werewolves. It could be the days when cavemen walked the earth. Have fun with it, those prompts. The theme is going to definitely influence the underwriting of the story and the plot and the twists. And so a romance novel or a hero's adventure story, kind of imagine the word story is going to end up on the at the end of this, right? So we'll do hero adventure. We're going to need two goals. A big goal, kind of a giant, audacious goal like save the princess, or save the prince, or slay the dragon lord, or what kind of drives this largest sense of the adventure you'd like to have. And then maybe a more personal goal or a smaller goal. So I'm just going to continue for now to copy one of the examples. It's just meant to kind of get your ideas stirring and help you understand what you're into. And let's see, let's say Korglok and Son Dragon Quest. And the image theme, these are going to continue to change and improve. And in fact, the published system doesn't reference kind of these franchises so specifically. We're not as much trying here to pull the plot and storyline, but to begin to feed the underlying graphics AIs so that they can help create something of a more consistent theme. I'm going to pick futuristic, and now that I recognize I'm actually working off my dev build instead of in production, you'll have to forgive some of the background graphics, and some of these things are not going to keep pace. They're not as up to date as production is, but let's see. Now, creating a new game could take a few moments, right? So feel free to look through these success tips and we'll continue to play and have fun here. And just be patient while we get things started. General gameplay is a little bit faster, for sure, than creating your initial plot and theme and kind of getting everything in order. All right, here we go. We have our introduction story and what we've boldly been able to craft for you as the backstory to your story. And these are going to change. You could put the same inputs in, and you're going to get dramatically different adventures even then. So here we are. Korglok was once a mighty warrior, feared by all who crossed his path. He'd fought in countless battles and emerged victorious each time. But as he grew older, his thirst for battle began to wane. He longed for a more peaceful life, one where he could spend his days with his family. And so he had retired from his life as a warrior, settling down in a small village with his wife and son. Akhtar had always looked up to his father, admiring his strength and bravery. He trained under his father's tutelage, learning from the ways of the sword and bow. And now at the age of 16, he was eager to prove himself as a warrior in his own right. He longed to slay a dragon, just as his father had done many years ago. But for now, he was content to travel alongside his father, learning from him and honing his skills. So yeah, there's gonna be a little bit of reading. I hope you, you definitely are gonna have this interactive choose your own adventure, insert the theme you chose here, story, and there's a lot behind pulling all this and bringing you through an experience, as we're about to see, very play by play. Now, this screen has your character introduction. Most screens are just going to have this bottom sense here, right? So, this is our current situation. Korglok and his son Akhtar trudged through the thick forest, their eyes scanning the trees for any signs of danger. The sun had just started to set, casting deep shadows across the forest floor. Suddenly, they heard a rustling in the bushes ahead of them. Korglok drew his sword and Akhtar readied his bow. They crept forward, ready to face what lay ahead. And then you'll see down here, what would you like to do next? You can click the words here, or you can click this bar, somewhere in here is going to open some prompting. So, do you want to investigate the rustling bushes? Turn back and find another path through the forest. Continue forward cautiously, keeping a watchful eye on the surroundings. You like to build a fire and rest for the night before continuing on? Split up, search for any signs of danger. Climb a nearby tree and get a better view of the surrounding area. Or follow a nearby stream to see where it leads. Now, let me close these. If you click just the picture, the whole world kind of quiets down and lets you really lean in and see what's going on. Most of the time, at a glance, these pictures are going to look pretty awesome. And then as you look deeper and you start to find some of the nuances, they're going to be even more awesome. Some of these you'll want, especially when I have my kids sit with me or we're streaming and kind of as a group going through these, just delightful. I hope you find that really, really tasty. All right, so let's do something. Let's investigate the rustling in the bushes. So I'm going to select that, and while it's thinking, we're going to kind of be able to again stare at that beautiful picture and think about things. And you'll notice a little movement in the background fade just to keep you aware that it's still processing. You're not just abandoned or stuck somewhere. Now, I did tell you, and you're going to have a very off and on relationship with these photos. In their own right, they are going to be very cool. And over time, they're going to do better and better at kind of merging the story and the plot into the photography. And so sometimes just get to enjoy them. All right. As they approached the rustling bushes, a small rabbit darted out and hopped away, causing Karglok and Akhtar to breathe a sigh of relief. What would you like to do next? Continue forward? Set up camp? Well, let's hunt for some food here. Uh, I also mentioned sadly started this recording on my dev branch, and I have not kept my dev side database up to date. So these graphics are going to be even more question mark than the ones you should be running into. Like I said, though, always something going on. There's definitely always something going on. All right, Kargok and Akhtar spot a deer grazing nearby. They quietly draw their bows to hunt for food. Mm-hmm. So we got our prompts. Now, if we wanted, we could click custom. And in the custom prompt, we're able to type another option. If instead of one of these, we wanted to say, uh, run up and tackle the deer. And then I'll find that go button. All right, all right. Oh my gosh, this stuff I like it probably more than I should. I end up playing and playing and playing. All right, we've gotten to something a little more surreal in our drawing here. Let's see. As they attempt to run up and tackle a deer, it senses their presence and takes off. Clearly didn't see that working out. We chase after it, but there's no match to the speed of the deer. We give up pursuit. My knuckle-headed attempt to tackle the thing has cost us our meal. All right, let's go get into some trouble. Let's wander through the forest a little, and if we don't get into some trouble, then we'll find some trouble. I chose an adventure, and maybe getting into trouble is not your thing. You should find an ability to create very, very distinct plots and storylines, interactions to your enjoyment. So as we come through the forest, a small stream, the sound of rushing water, we decide to take a break and rest for a little while. Let's go ahead and do a little fishing. Let's get some food. This, I don't know what the style here is, but this is definitely us in a forest chilling by a river. Like, oh my gosh, it is just so delicious. Too fun. We got some fish. Against his fish at an unsuccessful attempts, we finally caught a large trout. We're gonna eat. Let's make a fire and cook this thing. Here we go. Build a fire and cook the trout. I'm into it. Wonder if maybe something in the forest might smell our delicious food and wanna visit. Let's see. Nah, it's a peaceful forest indeed. We built a fire, cooked the trout, and enjoying a delicious meal in the peaceful forest. Not entirely sure what's going on here, but I kind of like looking at it, and we've got a lot of creativity going on here. All right, let's get into some interactions. Get into some trouble here. Um, go deeper into the forest, looking for large, dangerous animals. Let's see what she does with that. Oh, I believe we found a bear. We've come into a clearing where a large bear is. It's our deer from earlier. Yeah. All right, we've got ourselves a situation. This bear seems already unhappy. And again, what fun, right? This particular bear can likely move very quickly with only these appendages. So let's stand our ground and fight this bear. Karglok and Oktar stand their ground and prepare to fight. The bear charges towards them, but Karglok managed to dodge its attack and countered with a sword. Oktar joins in, using his bow and arrow to shoot at the bear. The fight is intense, but they eventually manage to defeat the bear and emerged victorious. Now, we had set an initial goal to prove bravery. This system is understanding that in this particular moment we have proven ourselves quite brave and would like us to set a new personal goal, right? Kind of these smaller goals. So to teach Akhtar uh, to find a dragon and teach Akhtar how to battle them. Probably best to keep concatenation out of there. I don't know how that and statement is going to ultimately play out, but yeah, I like to see she's quite creative. Now we simply set our next goal, and now we get to move back down into what we would like to do next, and let's search the area for additional threats. There is a fantastic battle taking place here, it would appear. Yes, yes. All right, now we've been getting imagery of a particular kind. And so I'm going to reach up here to this menu. I'm going to open image info. And the only thing I'm really going to mess with here, and this may look similar or different. You may never touch this. You may decide you'd like to touch this. One thing that can be useful is changing your image theme. So at the beginning, you, especially early, unreally unaware of the different effects that would take place, you chose some sort of theme to the image creation. So I'm going to move. Your options will look different than these, and the impact of those will be much more grand than what's going on in my dev kit here. Now I've requested to generate a new image, and as you think about the whole thing as a story, maybe you have a fantastic tale that you'd ultimately like to tidy up a bit and send to print, right? We have some very cheap um, vendors that help us to print on demand some of these materials. Just another fun thing where life meets art meets AI meets life again. And if you in the moment would like to, you're like, I didn't really just love that image, but I've been having a great time and I've been having great images. You don't even have to change anything. You can generate a new image. This image will be married to this scene, and you'll find later, and as we continue to develop the system further, an opportunity to choose from those moments where you created more than one image per scene. You could delete some before you go ahead and maybe package it up, and one day are able to submit that to the community for popularity in a particular category or these kinds of things. So just trying to help you kind of learn different pieces so you're not necessarily wondering what's going on. Again, just clicking the image will kind of quiet the world down. You'll see some little menus kind of popping up to the side. Let's see. After defeating the bear, we searched the area for other threats. We found none and decided to continue on the journey through the forest. Evidently, this bird-like creature is non-threatening. All right, I think we've visited most things. I'd like to get into maybe a death scene or at least some injury. So I'm going to skip right to something silly. Find a dragon to battle. See if I can uh, move the story along a little faster. Normally, I would just enjoy the journey. We search for a dragon to battle, wandering deep into the forest. After a while, we hear a loud roar in the distance and follow the sound to a large clearing. There is a massive dragon, its scales glistening in the sunlight, perched on a rock in the middle of a clearing. We're going to do some battle. Head on! Charge! Head on! Everybody else teases me. I'm fighting everything. We got somebody else on the team that's always trying to make more of mystery novels or romance novels. It's just delightful. All the variations that we can bring. All right, we charge head on. Our swords raised high, and the dragon lets out a deafening roar, breathing a stream of fire. We dodge the theme, but Akhtar is hit and falls to the ground, badly burnt. Oh my goodness. Now I want to draw your attention to this top left corner, and we've left it quiet. If you're not careful, you'll forget it's up there, and before you know it, you're injured and dying. So there is definitely a subsystem trying to keep track of what's going on in the story, and if you become injured, sometimes in fun, silly ways, and sometimes in obvious ways, you're going to begin to lose health. Once this process begins, you are bleeding out, right? If you get down to no hearts, you will have a death scene and your story will be finished. So you got to keep an eye on those, and sometimes, depending on what's going on, you may have to decide between spending a round trying to heal, which probably will work, but maybe not, or continuing, to close the encounter or deal with what you're dealing with. So in this case, let's see. Use range weapons, look for cover, negotiate, magic spells, retreat. Um, we're going to continue to make poor choices. And she's going to continue to try to incorporate those poor choices into our delicious adventure. Attempting to punch the dragon with fist. Attack is futile as the dragon's scales prove too thick. It retaliates with a swipe of its massive claw, sending Korglok flying through the air. We are not winning this encounter, and we see our health continues to dwindle. We also see our overall sense of credits within the system is down, ticking downward. All right, so we're going to attack the dragon with our swords this time. Our battle rages on. Karglok and his son Oktar charging at the dragon with their swords again, determined to take it down. The dragon roars and breathes fire. Karglok and Oktar dodge the flames and slice at the dragon's underbelly. The dragon recoils in pain, but it's not enough to take it down. All right, let's continue to make poor choices here. We're gonna go in here bare knuckled. What's up, dragon? Now this, oh my gosh! At first I was like, oh, look at this beast, and oh, so beautiful. But if you zoom out, maybe this is its open maw. Maybe it's much larger than if you just. Ugh, these are so fun to stare at. All right, we're quickly running out of life here. It doesn't care about our fists. All right, let's throw a tiny rock at the dragon. I want the dragon to live. We're going to see our final scenes together. All right. Karglok and his son Oktar find a small rock and throw it at the dragon, but the dragon turns his attention to the rock and moves towards it. So We've distracted the dragon. We have a chance to regroup and plan our attack. Final attack. What are we gonna do? Final attack. I think we're going back in with fists. Both rush forward with fists and punch the dragon hard. Oh my gosh, thank you for playing. The final stand. Karglok and Oktar managed to regroup, plan their attack while the dragon was distracted. We charged at the dragon with our swords, but the beast was too powerful. The dragon swiped its massive tail, sending Karglok and Oktar flying into a nearby rock formation. Karglok and Oktar lay there, badly injured and unable to move. They look at each other with sadness and regret, realizing that their quest had come to a tragic end. As their vision began to blur, they thought back on their journey. They had proven their bravery by defeating a bear and standing up to a dragon. They'd shared moments of joy and laughter, and fear and despair. They'd grown closer as a father and son and had taught each other valuable lessons along the way. With their final breath, Karglok and Oktar looked to the sky, watching as the dragon flew away. They knew that their quest had ended in failure, but they took comfort in the fact that they had faced their fears and stood up for what they believed in. As the sun set on the medieval world with dragons, Karglok and Oktar breathed their last. Their legacy would live on, inspiring future generations of heroes to stand up to the dragons, fight for what is right. Oh my goodness, I hope you've enjoyed this playthrough with me, and there's so much to be explored. I look forward to hearing about and being invited to your adventure as you embark on the most ridiculous adventure ever told. TMRA. Beautiful day to you. Cheers.